Let's move on to this. The government has gazetted sweeping regulations to deal with the electricity crisis. COHM Minister Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma has been given the power to exempt critical infrastructure from power cuts. She'll also be able to green light finances through emergency procurement. The Auditor General, however, will also have to conduct real-time audits on the funds and will report on all accounts during the disaster. Let's discuss this further now. We're joined by Mathew Cruise. He's an expert, an energy expert at HOHM Energy. Thank you very much, Mr. Cruise, for your time here on eNCA. I wonder what you think. Obviously, to us South Africans, it looks like a good idea to exempt hospitals from getting load shed because it just makes sense. Those are the institutions that save lives. But Andre Doreta has said that this would cause immense pressure on the grid and could lead to a national blackout. What are your thoughts as an expert?
Great. Thank you for having me on the show. And hello to the viewers in South Africa. So the commentary from Andre Doreta is fair in that some of the medical facilities that are identified as key infrastructure are sitting within a grid that includes about 3,000 other households. And so just doing a blanket proclamation that all health facilities in the country, all 214, now are exempt from load shedding can pose some technical difficulties. At the moment, about a third of those health facilities are already not experiencing load shedding. And so the gazetted information said where feasibly possible to not reduce further load shedding, the rest of the health facilities are now going to also be removed from the load shedding schedule. So where technically feasible, it will happen. And so hopefully I'm going to see that a third of those medical facilities now going up to about 3/4 will be exempt from load shedding.
But we were also given the excuse when, for instance, the health department asked Eskom to exempt health facilities. They were told that this is not possible because our hospitals and clinics are in communities and communities are getting the blackout. So how possible is it to, for instance, if a hospital is here in Hyde Park and the rest of Hyde Park is on load shedding, how do you exempt a particular institution from being a part of it?
Yeah, so that's very fair commentary, and that's part of the job now is to go and determine what is the methodology that can be used in order to exempt the specific medical facility from the neighborhood. And so that could look like having a separate breaker or a substation that's installed for the facility. Or it looks like the facilities, the government-owned facilities specifically, spending money to get and source their own sources of energy, which would be particularly solar with battery and generators that fire diesel and being able to spend money on generators. So that was also gazetted in the regulations that departments and critical infrastructure facilities are now enabled to spend money on sourcing their own power. So that also could be an option for how it looks. And the CSR is in the process of determining what is the cost and impact of putting solar panels on all of the critical infrastructure roofs.
And that's what I also thought was what makes sense. The fact that municipalities would be given the power to procure on an urgent basis, rather, your solar energy, etc., to put at the hospitals in their municipalities so that those hospitals continue to work. But also what I found in the regulation, and I'm looking here, to exempt the water board from penalties for exceeding maximum, capacity, etc. How possible is that, especially looking at South Africa, where, for instance, you have municipalities who are charging their customers, homes, for instance. At some point, we found in the city of Johannesburg that people were being billed incorrectly. So how do you even go about the system correctly with the system, the billing system already, so it doesn't work properly already?
Yeah. So fortunately, this step is relatively easy to implement. And the reason why I say relatively easy is because it's just a policy change within the billing system from the municipality that the water facility sits within. And what it says is that when the water facility that is experiencing load shedding comes back from load shedding and has power, it is no longer going to be penalized for having a maximum peak load for getting water processing done during the time that it does have power. This is significant in terms of the amount of money that's going to be spent by the water facilities, as you'd usually be charged according to the maximum power demand that you use during any period. So thankfully, it's now applying some sense into how costs are applied to critical infrastructure like water treatment plants.
All right, so just a one-word answer, because Zamazungu is going to kill me. I'm adding another question. So just a one-word answer, yes or no. Are these regulations good if they're implemented correctly in this national state of disaster?
They're a step in the right direction, but not far enough.
Not far enough. Thank you very much for speaking to us. That was Mathew Cruise, an energy expert at HOHM Energy. I already have my boss, Zamazungu, saying to me, wrap it up now.